So that was one useful thing about in inserts, is that you can automate the parameters for the plugin that you've chosen. But you can only do it one at a time. Well, you can edit it by kind of click and dragging these lines so that it does it over time. But it may be that you want to have control over the parameter settings through time by being able to wiggle the fader and have those movements captured by the by ProTools and then play back to you later on. So there is a record and playback function for automation, which applies to both your plugin here and also to the to volume control and panning and so on as well. So to do that, we need to have a look at the automation menu, which is this one here. So you find in the track overview, if you like, on the left-hand side here, you find a little button which says Read on it currently, and it's Automation Mode Selector. So click on that and it gives you a series of options. Incidentally, those options can also be found on the mixer view. So here we've got Auto Read. Click on that, you get exactly the same series of menu items. But I'm going to use it over here for now. So the deal with this is that if you have it on read, then your automation, whatever automation kind of settings you've got through time on that automation line will be read. So they will be applied to the track as it plays back. If I turn automation off altogether, then nothing will be applied. Okay, so it'll just ignore any automation data that's on there. It might have been more helpful if it had been greyed out when that happened, but it doesn't seem to be. However, rest assured that no automation will change when you've switched automation off. The record modes, if you like, for automation are these last three, and basically what they do is well, they all record automation, but they do it in slightly different ways, or at least they do it with varying degrees of safety in terms of overwriting what you've already got. So write, and if I click on write, then everything that is automatable will turn red, and you see that write is now in red, so that you know that you could potentially screw up whatever you've got in terms of automation on the track already. And the fader in the parameter, the decay parameter for the reverb plugin has also turned red. And that means that when I press play, automation will be written. You can see it's being written already. So while it's, it's not obviously moving, but as soon as I move it, it follows whatever movements I make. Okay. And it will continue to write until I press stop, whereupon it jumps back to its original automation line before I press play. Notice that as soon as I do stop that, the automation mode automatically pops into latch mode. And latch mode is also a write mode, as I say, but in this case, it will only start writing that automation when you click on the control for the parameter you want to change. Okay, so it essentially latches on to the new automation data that you want to write. So again, that's a kind of safety mechanism, because it means nothing will get overwritten until you touch the fader that you want to move. So we can try that again. So you'll notice nothing changes until I start moving the fader, whereupon it starts to write. When I release that fader, it stays where it is. Okay, so that is latch mode. But an even safer version, if you like, is to put it onto touch mode. And touch mode will only overwrite the data when you are touching the fader. So as soon as you release it, it goes back to what you had there before. So we'll demonstrate that. So I'll press play now. Again, so nothing's being written yet, but as soon as I start touching the fader, it starts writing. When I release it, it jumps back to where we were before and continues to read what was there originally. Okay, so 3 modes, each of which you can see you can get varying degrees of safety from extremely safe because it's not reading anything to super unsafe, which is where it's writing over everything that you have on, in the automation thing there. Now, obviously, if you have a particular an input mechanism, so a MIDI controlling device or something like that, you can control several parameters at once and have them evolve through time. We don't have anything, I don't think, here in the labs which will enable you to do that. But if you have something at home, you may be able to hook that up. I think there are only certain devices that work with ProTools anyway. But the fact that you have more control, you have personal control over the fader, and to be able to record that automation is quite useful.